couple different things. No, that was the easy answer. It's going to vary a lot. And so, for instance, a horse that has a little lameness issues, you certainly would want to space things out a little bit more. And there's also so much more that goes into it in terms of just how that horse is, how big of a toll did that race take on the horse. So I'll give you a little example. So earlier today, I'm just using a personal example. So I started doing some Yasso 800s, won't bore you with the details of those, but they're pretty rigorous intervals. Haven't done any in a year or two. Kind of need to in order to keep up with young whippersnappers who might try to beat me in a race. And I did 4 of them, and that's a whatever. And the goal will be to eventually get to 10. I could have done more. I could have easily knocked out a 5th one. A 6th one would have been tough. But I knew that if I did that, I was going to risk injuring myself. So the comparison is, because I didn't have to exert myself, there was no reason, and I'm smart enough in this old age to realize how much I should push myself. When you're young and invincible, you're like, I'll do another one, and then you injure yourself. But in a horse race, not all races are the same. Some, the horse wins quite easily and attacks itself. Another one, that horse worked that much harder. And so it's not just the skeletal system you're worried about, but there's other factors that go into it that also will affect whether a horse takes a bad step. And I think a lot of our injuries are based upon a pre-existing condition. But I also recognize there's sometimes it's that proverbial bad step. I think that's probably a minor portion of the time. But I remember a number of years ago, we had a grad student in our department who was walking her dog, stepped off a curb and broke her leg. So, sometimes you just step wrong and it happens. If an animal is fatigued because they worked that much harder in a race or something like that, then it increases the likelihood you take a bad step. So this is where the trainer with experience who can read the horse and feel how do they pull up out of that one is probably the best guidance on that. And I get really concerned. Everybody often wants me, give me an exact schedule to, give my horse. I'm like, I don't have an exact schedule for my own horses. I climb on them that day, and as things are evolving, that's when I make my decision. I might go in knowing what I'm going to do, and then, or even myself. I mean, and who knows yourself better than yourself? Like today, I wasn't actually planning to do that, and then the colleague I was running when was going to do some intervals. I was like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to do some of that stuff. And I thought I could do 4, but it wasn't until I was actually out there that I was like, yeah, no, I can do that. And I knew I could have done another, but I had to make some decisions on the call. The fear would be if I was a coach coaching me, but I didn't know how I was feeling, to make that call without actually knowing. That's why I'm really hesitant to give some very specific guidelines. And it can vary. In the olden days, and of course you hear the legends, and who knows how all of that is true, but you can look at racing records. Some of the great horses raced all the time. There are horses, I race quarter horses also, and there are some horses that race a couple times a day. That's not normal, but there were some that did that. Standardbreds was not uncommon for horses to be like in multiple heats and race a couple times within a day. They're moving away from that. Again, I'm not big into the standardbred industry. I have some of them. I go to the races with some friends, but I believe that some of these trial heats where a horse might race a couple times are becoming less and less. But horses used to do that without any problems, but we also never babied our horses the same way back then. Now we baby them because we are so afraid of them getting hurt that we've made wimps. And so then you do have to baby them a little bit.